I started out my career as a teacher. I was a teacher for about 2 years. And as you said, I think it was fantastic training for acting. But there is a difference. When we act, we're creating some sort of fact out of fiction. When you're teaching, it's fact, and the fiction element is. So there is a difference. How to engage an audience, I think the basic tenets are the same, that we are taught in acting that if you don't believe in what you're saying, the people listening are not going to believe. So you have to believe. So I think teaching is the same thing. You have to have a strong belief and a passion for what you're teaching. And if you don't, you're going to lose the audience. Same thing in acting. And we look at, like, take any actor, Shah Rukh Khan. One film you like and one film you won't like. Why? Script may be not so good, but mainly it's because in one film something has turned him on and he's done a brilliant performance, and the other one he's not turned on, so he's doing it mechanically. The same thing in teaching. I, as a student, faced many teachers who were doing it mechanically. And then one day, I remember biology, which was one of my hopeless subjects. We had a guy who was from New Zealand, and I didn't know it, he was a long distance runner, which I also was. And I hated biology. He was a very dull teacher, and he was very textbook type of teacher. I'm talking about a long time ago. So I used to go for a run in the morning, and one morning I met him running. I'm running like 10, 15 miles. And there was John Calder, he was also running. So suddenly he and I had a connect. So in the next day in class, because in Mussoorie where we were studying, you go through different, when you go from one altitude to another, everything changes. The air, the leaves, the trees. So the next day in class he used this as an example of biological change. And suddenly it made sense to me. I work with the acting students at the Film Institute. I refuse to say that I teach acting because I don't think acting can be taught. Acting can be shared. It can be shared. And I think teaching has to also be a sharing of your passion. But passion is built also upon knowledge. You can be passionate about something that you know a heck of a lot about. Now, I've been playing and following and watching cricket since I was 6. So I could give an entire lecture on cricket because I feel very passionate about it. I could give an entire lecture on Urdu poetry but it's not something which happens overnight. And जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं उसको ताज़ा रखना पड़ता है. वो ताज़गी जो है वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. My wife is a school teacher. You should be talking to her, not me. And I watch her. She's now, my age, and she's been teaching at the same school for 32 years. She's constantly making her lessons every year fresh. And I look at her and I think, she says, oh, you've given a tremendous, the same thing, performance. She sees the play. I said, you do this every single day. So, and I see, she's up at 4 in the morning. She gets the day ready and then she's gone and I never see her. So, but I see that passion she has for teaching, and then she'll, like in your, you know what it's like, that a letter comes back from some student who graduated 20 years ago. Okay, ma'am, you taught us this, and I can see so we get it like, oh sir, हमने आपकी वो picture देखी, चरस film देखी, उसमें आपने धर्मेंद्र के साथ, वो तो अलग है. But to have this is the blessing of teaching. But to get one letter after 20 years means you put in 20 years of slogging and hard work to get that letter. And so you're not doing it to get the letter. The letter just sort of reminds you, okay, chalo, I've done something. So it's a combination of passion, very hard work. We all know that Aurangzeb died in whatever, 1622, whenever it was. We know that's a fact. How do you make it interesting that Aurangzeb died? Why did he die? Who was behind his death? We're doing a play right now on Noor Jahan. That's why I have that on my mind. So make it interesting. Turn it into a play. The minute you do that with passion, your students suddenly say, oh, teaching or acting should be the same. So when you teach and you say that Aurangzeb was born in 1562 and he died in 1624, the audience is going to sleep. Or your class is going to sleep. But if you say, no, Aurangzeb, first of all, can anybody tell you what the name means, Aurangzeb? What? What does the name mean? Aurang. Huh? Look it up, look it up. Aurang means the throne. Oh, and Zeb, what does Zeb mean? Zeb means a jewel, a decoration. So Aurangzeb was the jewel of the throne. So Aurangzeb. So now you got your audience in your hand. So just like right now, all three of you are listening, because with all due respect, you probably didn't know it. So this is what teaching has to be. People have to be interested in what you're saying. And they'll be interested when you're interested. I asked Dilip Kumar, the great Dilip Kumar, I asked him 40 years ago now. I said, Dilip Sahab, अच्छी acting का राज क्या है? What is the secret to good acting? Now, any of you three tell me, what did he say in reply? What do you think he said? अच्छी acting का राज क्या है? क्या बोले होंगे वो? He said, without a moment's hesitation, Shero Shairi, poetry. Now that was the most amazing answer I've ever heard in my life. Now I'm not saying that Shero Shairi is the secret to great teaching, but I think he said Shero Shairi, he himself loved Shero Shairi, because poetry in a minimum number of words and in a very beautiful fashion you express your feelings. So a good teacher doesn't necessarily have to quote Shero Shairi, but in his or her teaching, that poetic cadence or understanding has to be there to make whatever the subject is, but takes it to a different level. So, and again, I'd look at my wife, she loves poetry. And it's not that you, like I like to quote, it doesn't mean quoting poetry. It means that words, language, rhythm, meaning, as you speak, all these things have to come into your teaching. So these are things, and then you're talking about, basically it's just also sheer and utter hard work.